welcome to Breakthrough Together podcast, episode 5. This is kind of a cool episode because we have like a super supporter who suggested a topic for us today, and it is forgiveness. And I thank you so much. You know who you are. I don't know if I should say your name, but you know who you are. You binge watched all of our first 4 episodes. That was so nice of you. And then you suggested forgiveness. So we're doing this for you. So thank you. So we're kind of just going to go off the cuff today with this. There's so much to talk about with forgiveness. You can go on. I was thinking we might have to do a 2-parter. I mean, it's a lot for forgiveness. So do you have any thoughts you'd like to start out with?
Forgiveness. Well, I guess first of all, the definition, basically most people think forgiveness is when you have been hurt, something has been wrong to you, and you're able to accept apology where the person sincerely did not mean to do, or the situation, whatever happened, they're apologetic, right? You know, so that's basic forgiveness. That's a really great topic, forgiveness. I guess myself, being a mother, a sibling, as we grow up, sometimes there's things that we've done as children growing up to each other, even as a parent. And it's hard sometimes when you realize, wow, that was maybe the best way I handle the situation, especially when you have, children and you're growing up, and I have 3, so you're trying to juggle it all and you have to deal with the moment. And sometimes those things, the way we handle it, it stays in the child's mind. We don't realize, how they always say everything goes back to childhood, the relationship.
Yeah.
And it's not always what it was about, but it's the way we handled it, how we spoke to the person at that time, And I know with each child, I can look at something where I could have handled that a little bit better, but being parents, we don't have a handbook. And we are people in progress too, in the development. And also we're a product of our past upbringing and experiences. So, I can see some little quirky fears that I put into my children. And I feel kind of bad, but they're getting better at it. One was, believe it or not, germophobic. It was passed on to me from my mother, and I made my kids terribly germophobic. And then I married someone who was germophobic. And as I look back, it really hindered sometimes the relationships, because my husband was such a germophobic, and me together made it worse, where he wouldn't even let us be around a lot of his relatives, believe it or not, because they weren't clean enough, he felt. And when we did see some of them, we only was allowed to stay for a few minutes. Now they're not allowed to eat with them. Anything that they offer, use their restrooms, sit down on the furniture, just for a few minutes, visit, and goodbye. Which is kind of crazy, but as time progressed, I've gotten better where I'm not that kind of way anymore. But I've seen things in my children, and of course it'll come out in different ways, and we laugh about it, but I can see a little hindrance in things, and I tell you.
Do you think they blame you for maybe putting these things in their mind and they haven't forgiven? Like, maybe in terms of forgiveness, like it comes out later on that they haven't forgiven because it comes out in certain things that they do or say, or, you know what I mean? And you can tell that because I think forgiveness is healing, really.
Yes, it is.
Like it's healing of the situation.
That's right. And moving forward, not being shackled down, right? It's healing. Yeah. And the part of the healing is being able to move forward. Partially, yes. They laugh about it. Sometimes they'll bring it up when certain things that they do, and they'll say, well, it's because of you, Mom, all that germophobia that you gave us. But but they do it in a joking way, halfway. But they have progressed. They have healed in many ways, but then little ways there is things still about them, because they have their own character too and their own nature, but also too, some was shaped by that.
Mhm.
So that's a growth in progress, but there is, as far as heavy healing and stuff like that, that is all past. I really think so, because it doesn't really hinder their growth and movement forward. It brings out a little quirkiness sometimes and hesitation in some ways, but it doesn't hinder them anymore, and it doesn't get in their way and causes problems. So that, I think, is really an actual proof of how we really have healed, and the forgiving has transpired, but whenever little things do happen that they do, they remind me, it's because of you, Mom. They love to
Yeah.
throw that, and I feel that wrench, it's that little wrench again, but it's okay, it's a softer one.
And what forgiveness does for the person, like if you forgive somebody else, what it does for you is heal you,
That's what it is.
And there's a person that I used to watch a show on public access TV, and the guy, I love, they're a couple and I love them. And the guy used to always say, if you can't laugh at it, it's not healed.
That's right.
So that's part of forgiveness, because you can think back on maybe something that somebody slighted you in some way or betrayed you or whatever. Right. Yes. And if you can't laugh at it, which I know that's hard, but if you realize, oh, that was silly and I'm bigger than that or whatever, then it's healed. Yeah. So yeah. So absolutely. I think forgiveness is like they say, not letting the person off the hook, so to speak, not forgetting, but maybe accepting it happened. I can't change it, right. And then learning the lesson from it. Like, should I deal with this person ever again? Should I not? Should I? But accepting and then not forgetting and learning the lesson from it.
Exactly.
And I guess it depends on who's doing the betraying or, against you or whatever, but it's hard. I mean, obviously if it's your child or your husband or, that's tough, but you're doing it. It's almost like you're letting the weight off you. Yeah. Letting them take on that karma, so to speak.
That's right.
They'll deal with it in their life. And you just let it come off you, let them deal with it, and learn the lesson from it,
Exactly. You're absolutely right. That is so true, Sharice, because when we do forgiveness, it's really for ourselves. Because the thing about it is when we're holding on to that, that's a heavy weight that we take responsibility for, that blocks us, that stops us and hinders us. And the thing about it is, it's not what we have done. We reacted to it, but we were not the one who did it. And so because of that, that's where, as we continue and grow, we're able to digest it, we realize that. And then when we do the forgiveness, we actually take back our power where they don't hold power over us. We grab and we attain back our power, And then because of that, we don't feel the heaviness. The responsibility was not ours anyway, and we can't fix it. They have to. If they do or not, it's all, like you say, it's their karma, it's their cause and effect, but how we handle it and move on. And it's not, a lot of times people get a little hung up on forgiveness because they think, well, why do I have to forgive that person? No, it's forgiving yourself to have been in a situation where that person was able to do that to you,
Yeah, because you think you're not holding them accountable.
That's right.
But
you are. You're leaving it all on them.
Yeah, and their actions are always, they're going to be held accountable in some way for it, because their actions are always going to come back around in some way.
Exactly.
So so it's not up to us to hold them accountable and make sure, because what if they do something that's against someone else and put that negative energy out there, that energy is going to come back in some way.
Oh, yes. That's definitely. And, we become a lot stronger this way. We learn even more deeper who we are and shape ourselves more. And also too, we grow because now we've learned a lesson from this, where we are able to next time catch ourselves and catch on quicker when we're, we can recognize deception when someone's coming at us in a deceiving way or taking advantage of us. It could be a different circumstances, different person, but still we're able to recognize,
Yeah.
the feeling, the eye, everything, literally smelling it. And so that's really great. And sometimes when you also do the forgiveness, like you say, doesn't mean that you have to let that person back in your life. It doesn't mean that you have the relationship, of course, will never be the same. It will never be the same. And the thing about it doesn't mean that you can't have a relationship. It depends what it was, first of all,
Yeah.
Like when it's someone close, like a husband, children, family, it's a little challenging, but even that sometimes, depending on the circumstances,
Yeah.
It is something that it's going to take time for you to decide if I want to, how much can I trust that person? How close will I let them come into my circle,
Yeah. Yeah, it's gaining wisdom, basically.
Exactly.
And once we gain wisdom, then we know how to proceed. Well, I'm a little wiser now because of this. And I know that I can recognize, like you said, I can recognize this if it's happening again, I know how to cut it off before it happens or whatever. But it's a wisdom. And so it's you in a weird way, you gain from it because you become wiser. And it's lessons that we learn in life. And I think I don't think anybody gets out of this life without getting betrayed in some kind of way, and by somebody. And the hardest is when it's somebody close to you. But always, I think, remember too, it's never about you, it's about them.
That's right.
So you're like, how could you do this to me? But it's always about them.
Exactly.
Then it's never about you.
I know sometimes people also, they say, well, why is it that it's someone close? Because first of all, betrayal is only meaningful when it's someone close to you. If it's somebody that's
very true,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they do.
It sure doesn't.
They can't hurt us. It doesn't matter. But it's only close loved ones, close people in our circle, inner circle, intimate circle, doesn't matter to us. So that is why. But still, we have that power over ourselves. How we want to handle this. How do we want to digest this? How do we want to react to this, and it does strengthen us. And when we do that, it's like opening a door. All that junk that we have accumulated and taken from them and allowed them to throw on us, like we're the one that caused that, we deserve this, all that negativity. Once you let that go, that forgiveness, you let that go. It's all dissolved. It's all thrown back in them. This is your stuff, not mine.
It's their stuff always.
Empty space where we can put and feel whatever positivity we want, including all that wisdom that we have gained and learned from this wonderful lesson, right?
And that's transmuting the energy. Because you can take whatever energy comes at you and change it to the energy that you want for yourself. So you can always transmute. There's always a positive side to everything. It's hard to digest that, but there's always something in there for you to gain personally in terms of your growth. When something happens, I was thinking about this topic too, because when she brought it up, I started to think about a lot of the heartache that I've experienced in my life. And I mean prolonged heartache because of how I processed the way somebody treated me or what somebody did. And I processed it a certain way and not realizing it's their stuff, it's not mine. So, and then I look at all the years that I suffered, just continually in the back of my mind running that memory. And there's several of them. I mean, there's lots of them. We accumulate these things through the years. I was like, oh my gosh, I have spent a lot of time running these things in the back of my mind. This person did this person did that. And, and you don't realize it. It's like, it's unconscious. It's unconscious, but it comes up in other ways and how we interact with other people, It's also very godly and very spiritual
Yes.
to
That's what it
forgive.
is. That's right.
Because in the end, we're all one thing. We're all united
That's
on this
right.
planet,
Interconnected, right?
and we're all connected. And so it's a very highly spiritual thing to do, to forgive someone, to forgive someone, and then you have a boost in your spiritual growth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. That is so true. That is absolutely, because that's what we're all here for. We're here to spiritually feed each other and spiritually learn and grow, you know?
Mhm.
And I tell you, as we get older, it's amazing because we'll look back at our lives and we'll think, wow, had I known this or someone has told me. And with this, I was thinking also too, you know, if I was younger, I tell you, you know, our parents and our loved ones and friends and family, you know, the elders, they try to teach us things. And of course, we're young, our minds aren't really fully mature enough to grasp and take it in. So we don't fully listen, right? We do not fully listen. But some we do take in and remember later. And one thing I always think about is with forgiveness, it makes me think about, you know, I wish, and I'm so glad we're doing this topic because it's so important to understand when you're young, because it does stop us, it hinders our growth.
Yeah.
If we could understand forgiveness and the importance of forgiveness and what that means. And then also too, when you forgive, you're literally letting go all that
Yeah.
stuff. You're letting it go, and you're allowing yourself to move forward towards your dreams. When you let go all that stuff, you know, you are literally moving forward, like you say, spiritually, a higher level. And
Mhm.
because of that, you're aspiring forward towards your dreams, you know?
And it
And so,
hinders you. It
yes,
hinders you. You know, because some people, I've heard people tell stories like, you know, say someone, something as horrible as murder, or, you know, and they go and they visit the person in prison that
mhm,
may have killed someone they love. And they
mhm,
say, like, in order to move forward,
yes,
I had to reconcile that. I had to go and
yes,
tell this person, I forgive you.
yes.
And you know, when I think about stuff like that, I go, well, gosh, you know, maybe some of the small things that I've been holding on to, that's just huge compared to what I've been holding on to. But they say, you know, they're hindered unless they can face it, reconcile it, and let go. And then you let go, because I think what helps me the most is going back to that. It's not me. It's not me.
Yes.
It's them. And it's not personal against me. They're dealing with something inside them that creates that
Mhm.
behavior, you know. And I happen to be the person that they did it to, but this is their
Yeah.
stuff they're dealing with. This is not me. So that helps a lot. And it's
Yeah.
hard though. Sometimes, it doesn't always, you know,
Yes.
after you get over the initial emotional charge,
Mhm.
then you can maybe do that. But
Yeah.
you know, it's hard.
That is so true because you know, it's very hard, especially when someone has done something horrific to you or your loved ones, to go
Mhm.
to them and literally say, I forgive you. But then we have to remember, we have to understand, what is forgiveness? I'm forgiving myself, really. And what I'm telling them is, I'm holding you accountable for what you've done. And what
Mhm.
you've done was wrong, but I'm not personalizing it, because
Exactly.
the thing about it is, unfortunately, even though it happened to me, they probably have repeatedly done these things to others, as well as they could have picked another person. It
It could
wasn't
have been another
because
person.
exactly. You have to let go of the personalizing. And when you do that, the forgiveness is much easier because you realize it's not even about you. It's all about that person, their low
Mhm.
life condition, their negativity, the kind of,
Yeah.
you know, crap that they have within themselves and that they feed. It's not me, you know? And that's where we can forgive ourselves that this has happened to, you know?
Mhm.
And learn from it and grow from it. And, you know, that is the amazing growth when you do that. It's just, you know, just like little things that we have gone through that you can think about at times when you have forgiven, and
Mhm.
how transforming your
Yes.
energy, your life. Even you feel like you're breathing through every pore of your body,
It's
right?
like a rebirth.
Yes, it really
It's like
is.
you're like, like oxygen and everything, because you
Yes.
cut yourself off. You know how they say like waiting to
Mhm.
exhale or whatever. Like you
That's
cut
right.
yourself off from life force,
Yes.
you know, when
And
you're
yeah,
holding that tightness
that's right.
of holding a grudge and all that
Mhm.
stuff. And
Yeah,
you're really damaging yourself because it's
that's
bad on
right.
your body, bad on your
And
spirit, bad on your
the health
mind.
deteriorates. Your health deteriorates.
Yeah.
It does. But I tell you,
Yeah.
it is just so it is so wonderful when we're able to do that. And I think, when you think about forgiveness, really, Sharice, the hardest forgiveness is not even at the person who's hurt us, it's forgiving ourselves,
Yeah.
our
Because we think we
vulnerability,
allowed
right?
them to do it.
Mm-hmm.
In
Our
the end, it's
vulnerability.
really us we're mad at.
Mhm. Yes,
Yeah.
to be fooled or taken advantage of, or whatever deception that happened, you right? That's the
Yeah.
hardest part, to forgive ourselves, which should be the easiest, right?
Yeah.
But, and that's where
Like if I'd never gotten involved with this person, if I'd never this, if I'd never that, then this wouldn't have happened. Yeah.
that's right. Yep. But I tell you, this is such a great topic because I think we both have been going through the journey of forgiveness. Even though we didn't plan to go down it, it was been part of our journey because of our spiritual growth that we have been both going on.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is a big part of that. And I tell you, it is just so beautiful because you're absolutely right. One of the biggest signs is when you can laugh, really laugh and smile.
Hmm.
And I tell you, and that's why you hear the saying, time heals all
Yeah.
old wounds. Because what that means is it's not going to magically happen, but we tend to work at it slowly, piece by piece, without even realizing we're working at it. And the more time goes by, the more we are starting to work and work and work at whatever is ailing us, whatever is going on within ourselves.
Well,
Because
I had a dream about someone that hurt me recently, a couple weeks ago. And the symbolism in the dream made
Mhm.
me realize that point because, time is supposed to heal. And I thought I was healed. But
Yeah.
then when I had that dream and I thought back on the symbolism of it, I went, I haven't let go. And then I knew, you know what I mean? Like, I guess
Oh,
from
I know
wisdom
what you
I've
mean.
gained through the years, I knew immediately when I woke up from that dream, I said, this dream's telling me I haven't forgiven and let go yet. And then it was like just a release when I realized that. And it was okay because it's been so many years.
Yeah.
And my higher self, my inner being was just saying, you need to let go of this. And the dream was so bizarre, but I knew immediately when I woke up. I said, this is about me not letting go and forgiving. I'm going to do it right now. It's over. It's done. And it just felt like
That,
the breath of life, after that.
yes, yeah. And you do feel like that because you feel like you just started breathing again, like you've been
Yeah.
holding your breath the whole time. I do understand.
Yeah.
It's funny because I recently had a dream too. Oh my gosh. And it was so symbolic too.
Yeah.
And it was with my husband. And I was with a couple of my adult kids. And, he was in the dream and he did something silly, stupid. It was really silly. And I got angry. And then
Mhm.
I said something to him, like, why did you do that? That was stupid. Why would you do that? And, he just made this smirk. And then I got upset. And I said, and then I shoved him on the arm. And then
Mhm.
I hit him on the arm. And then I hit him again a couple of more times. And then I said, no. And he was surprised, but he just smiled. And I thought, no, I don't have to hit you. You know what? I said, it's all right because you know what? You did it. And that's your stupidity. But you know what? It doesn't bother me. I'm not going to let it bother me because I'm
Yeah.
going on. I'm going on. I'm going to do
Mhm.
what I need to do. And then I realized, oh my gosh, this is what's going on. I've reached that other side now where I didn't
Mhm.
realize that I was very still hurt, that he's gone, that he's passed, and I'm left here to carry on, dealing with things
Yeah.
alone. And I woke up and I thought, oh my gosh, how beautiful. And the anniversary is coming up this month. And I
Sure
thought,
is.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh, what a beautiful present from him and realization of growth for myself, right?
Is this 5 years, Linda? Is it five
Five
now?
years,
Yeah,
5 years
so
on,
that's what I
on
thought.
Monday. Yeah, on the
Yeah.
22nd. Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's
That's
interesting that it's
meaningful.
at the 5 year anniversary because
Yes.
and you know what's interesting? The reason I remember it's 5 years because around the person that I had the dream about, it was 5 years ago that I left them and thinking that everything I've been moving on, man. I'm fine, And then I had this dream, and I'm like, I haven't let go. And so yeah, 5 years is kind of like an interesting, like,
Yeah.
what do you call it?
It's a big ring. It's a very symbolic ring. It is.
Yeah,
And yeah. It's
yeah,
not uncanny that you and I both had this experience too, because
yeah.
whenever you're close to people in your inner circle, when we're all going through growth and transformations and challenges, we all are, because we're in that whole world when
And we
of
always
there.
have parallel stuff.
And we
And I've
do.
noticed that with my other
Yeah,
close friends too. You and I have parallel stuff.
yeah,
I have parallel stuff with a couple other
yeah.
close friends, and it's always like we're going through the same stuff
That's
at the
right.
same time. And they're just meant to be there. They're like in your,
That's
I
right.
call them my spiritual circle.
That's
They're
right. That's
like
what it
the
is.
people that are in that circle and they go through. So that's what part of the wisdom is being able to see the big picture
That's right.
and go, okay,
Mhm.
this isn't about me. I'm always supported by the universe, always. This is helping me so much today, Linda, because
I know
this has been a rough
this is
week.
perfect. I know, and that's
From
why.
last week to today.
Yeah.
It's been a rough week, so this is helping.
It's just amazing. That's why I look at this. Now here it is. I'm going to start working. I have this wonderful opportunity for employment and to be able to develop my life and go forward. And I thought, oh my God, a whole new, not chapter, but a book, literally a whole new book for my life.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, this is amazing. Because of that forgiveness and this transformation that I did, this inner transformation, because everything starts from within. Just like building a house, you have to have the blueprints, you have to have the ideas and then make the blueprints. And then from that point, you have to physically start structuring and building it, right? The same thing with everything that we build and create. It's the inner transformation. And then once we do that, that's why everything starts with a dream, a thought. And then as we, transpire that within and then let it out, it's just going to grow. It's just, that's it. It will just flourish,
Yeah, yeah. And the word I was looking for is milestone.
Yes.
It's a milestone year at 5.
Yes, it is.
And I think it's just so beautiful. Like, the universe is like, here's a dream. Here's this dream for you so you can move on, please.
Exactly.
So,
and the whole experience that I've been going through recently too for this opportunity. And it's like amazing, it's just absolute. It's like just all the footsteps all lined up, and it's just so exciting. I feel almost like a little kid, but it's just so wonderful. But yeah, this is a very, very important time. I was talking to my daughter about it, and she says, Mom, because I told her, I said, we're going to have to do a great dinner together, and you're welcome to join us too. I said, we need to do a great dinner together. And she says, oh my gosh, she says, Mom, you said 5 years is going to be over. We don't have to do all this. I said, this is the 5th year, but actually we need to do 7. But the 5th year, I told her the 5th year is very big and important. So she remembered that. She says, okay. So I said, yeah.
Yeah. And it's, this will be very special. And it's kind of a, maybe those first 5 years, you can kind of feel that the spirit of him holding your hand and helping you through that time. Then you get to that milestone year of 5. It's kind of a healing, maybe that's a healing number. I don't know.
I think so. The way I feel, it is very healing. It is a very healing where now I'm able, to process it and use everything as wonderful stepping stones to just open up the windows and air out the house now. And at the same time, make all my dreams into reality, and it's just so wonderful. It's like a total exchangement, at the same moment,
Mhm.
goodbye to the old things, but still I'm with you, you know, and now I'm moving on to create even more and to open up and bring in even more, experiences and, spiritual beings too, so
Yeah, and that's how I feel because I know I'm embarking on a new chapter myself. I'm
yeah,
actually doing things like yesterday I took a class
great.
online that I would have never joined in the past because I would have thought I'm not qualified for this. And I'm trying to do some filmmaking things, and this was a class that I took with a prominent person,
Exactly.
a prominent person in the industry.
Yeah.
And I would have thought, oh, I'm not qualified for this, and I'm going to be on here with all these people that have more experience, whatever.
Yes.
And yeah, I really felt so integrated, like you say, it's like my time to go in that direction now
Yes.
and to be a part of it, not be on the outside of it.
Hmm.
And and it really is becoming more healed to get you there. Because when I was going through more things, I wasn't in a place where I could even advance. So
Hmm.
say I saw that class a few years ago, I wouldn't have taken it,
Yes.
because I stopped myself a lot because, the barriers that I put in front of myself because I'm suffering with something else and,
Hmm.
some emotional wound or usually related to dealing with somebody else, and forgiveness is
Hmm.
in there usually somewhere, or, some betrayal or something. You're dealing with something and you hold yourself back because you're dealing with pain, and
Yes.
that's a big thing I've dealt with, with these things happen to me. I hold on to them. I'm in pain. And then opportunities are there. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready. But now I feel like now that I'm cleaning house, and that
Hmm.
includes forgiveness because I'm healing and letting go of things. Now I'm jumping on opportunities and kind of like knowing myself better now. Like,
Hmm.
this is who I am. I should be doing this, not sitting in and being held back by my
Hmm.
wounds and things like that.
Yeah.
So now I'm getting there. I'm like, okay, things are just falling off now. And
Now we know we're not.
forgiveness is a big part.
Yeah, we don't realize it. We do not realize that we are one of our biggest blockage.
Mhm.
We really do. We hold ourselves down and we keep blocking our way to open up and go forward,
Mhm.
and that's through the healing, through the forgiveness, through everything. That negativity within ourselves, whatever it may be, fear, anger, frustration, whatever pain it may be, it's all negative. It's lower world life conditions. That is the biggest obstacle and the biggest chains that holds us down, hold us
Yeah.
down from moving forward and going and achieving our dreams. And it's beautiful because once we realize that through forgiveness, it's like everything just breaks loose from us,
Yeah.
we're free. And everything opens, and because of that, when everything opens, it's all fresh air and the whole just flowing just of
Yeah.
energy, our energy all immersed together. And so you cannot help but go forward, you cannot help but go after your dreams, and it just feels so wonderful, so right, because it is right, because all that junk, we've released it, we've let it go. And
Yeah. I think
it's
that's
so beautiful,
I think that's the one of the main things is just to remember not to personalize it, as we were talking
that's
about,
right, that's right, totally, because
and
most
just
things that
understand
happen to us, yeah.
and have compassion for
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
person.
That's right.
Like you can,
Yeah.
if you really stop, like take that pause before your emotional reaction,
Hmm.
and you take a pause, then you realize, oh, wait a minute, this is something going on with them, and they're
Hmm.
projecting it out to me.
Hmm.
And if you
That's
take
right.
that pause, so that's probably a good thing. And I'm learning to do that now too, because I usually
Yeah.
emotionally react
Hmm.
quickly. And I'm
Yes.
learning to remember, stop, don't
Yeah.
react right now.
That's right.
And then you realize, oh, okay, no, this isn't about me. This is about them.
Exactly.
let them handle it, and it's one of the best things that I've learned. I actually read that somewhere recently. I mean, I've known it, but I haven't practiced it.
Yeah.
But I read it somewhere recently and I said, I'm going to make myself do this. And so I stopped, pause, look at the situation, and always realize, okay, this isn't about me. It's about them.
That's very
And
empowering. Very
yeah,
empowering.
and it keeps you centered, and
Yes,
it keeps you clear,
That's right.
clear, not clouded.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's so freeing. It's very freeing.
Yeah. And we forget so much about the power of choice, right? We always have the power of choice. How we react and when we react and what we do from that moment when anything that we're engaging in, anything that happens to us, we have that moment to decide, okay, what do I want to do? How do I want to handle this? And when we're doing that, that is that pause that you're talking about. That is that giving ourselves a moment to breathe. And when you do that, you cannot help but make wiser, better choices,
Yeah.
So, you're absolutely, it doesn't mean that things are going to be la. It doesn't mean that you're not going to go through heavy experiences, pain. No, that's part of emotions. We're all going to feel that. Just like when we hurt sometimes, when we bang ourselves, that's an emotion, just like happiness and joy and love. But we will be able to use that as a positiveness, as a medicine, where we don't have to dwell in that, and be stuck in that. So, but, and that's when we do that, that's how we don't personalize it. We do not personalize it then. And I tell you, I think that is such a great realization with forgiveness,
What about waiting for an apology? Meaning, I think some of the audience might be thinking, well, I have to have an apology first, and then I can be on the road to forgiveness, And so I'm thinking that's a good thing to discuss.
Yeah.
We don't, because you're not going to necessarily get an apology.
Yeah.
Most of the time you don't,
Right.
And some people do. They wait for that. Well, if they're not going to apologize, then I'm just going to hold on to that grudge.
Yeah. I think if we do the self-work and self-realization and do forgiveness with ourselves, the apology
not needed.
It's not needed.
Yeah.
Needed. Because first of all, like you say, majority of the time you do not get it. And then when you do get it, it's insincere. It's insincere. The apology comes from oneself, forgiving oneself, accepting oneself that, what, this is not my problem. This happened to me, and you know what? I'm okay. I can forgive here, and I can learn from this, and I can keep moving forward and not let this hinder and stop my growth, my happiness moving forward. Whatever with them. And
I think a lot of times we want them to feel guilty.
Exactly.
As long if they're feeling guilty, then I feel good. That I can forgive now because now I've succeeded at making them feel guilty enough about what they've done. Exactly. But that's not really what it's about.
It'll never happen too, because who is being weighed down, who's being tortured, who's being upset? We are the one, right?
Not the ones being tortured.
Exactly. Yeah. And then who is doing the torturing? When you look at it, it's ourselves. It's like, this is kind of sadistic. This is crazy, right? So,
because everything is our relationship with ourselves.
That's right.
Pretty much they say that everything that happens in life to us is a reflection of our relationship with ourselves. Right. So even if it's something that we feel like we had no control over, like some tragedy happened and we're like, I didn't create this or whatever, but it's still about your relationship with yourself, because it's how you handle it, how you build wisdom, how you learn from what happened. It's all about your relationship with you. That's right. And the people that you're in relationships with are a reflection of your relationship with you. Yeah. So,
it's just like, I know I was listening to a show a few days ago, and a couple of celebrities was talking about, when they were growing up in relationship with their mothers and their
Mhm.
parents, and how it was very harsh, and the parent wasn't, very emotionally caring. They gave all the wonderful necessities, but
Mhm.
they weren't a kind of, loving kind of person, right? And so they really felt neglected, and on that part, and it made a lot of scars. But then as they grew up and became older, they realized, two I was listening to, and they were totally separate people growing up in their family, with their parent. One was just with the mother, and one had both. And they were saying, but and they're beautiful people, and they would say, wow, you don't even think that you had that kind of life, that everything seems so wonderful from you. And they said, because you know what? I realized they're people, and
Yes.
they were doing their best. They did provide, and they had me in a safe place. They cared for me and everything, but they just weren't loving emotionally. They were absent. Even though
Mhm.
they were there with me, the emotions weren't, they weren't loving kind of people, and affectionate. And they said, but they realized that's just who they are. That's part of where they came from, how they were raised. That's
Mhm.
who they are as a person, because they're people. Even though they were, my mother, my parents, they were people, and they had
Mhm.
to realize it's not about me. I had to let go of the pain and move on and realize it's not that I'm not lovable. It's just that they're not that kind of people.
Right.
And so when I grew up, I realized I want to have a loving relationship. I want to be a loving parent. And that's what
Mhm.
they realized. And that's why they were able to not get hung up and
Yeah.
have all these kind of problems where they had to be sitting, in a therapist chair all the time, or
Mhm.
moping around and everything like that, even though they had pain inside of them.
Mhm.
And you're absolutely right. It's a relationship that we have with ourselves, and how much we know ourselves, and how much we work on taking care of ourselves.
I didn't realize my parents were people until I hit like my 30s. And then I realized, and I said that once when I was in therapy, I said that to my therapist because she wanted to know in the beginning, how they go down the checklist of how did you grow up and how was your relationship with your parents and all that kind of stuff. And I remember I said to her, I realize that my parents are people and I've gotten past a lot of stuff. And she just smiled. She's like, she smiled at me as though, well, that's half the battle already, you know? And it just came out of my mouth. And I had never really thought about it before. But then when she got on that topic with me, I said that to her, yeah, I've gotten over a lot of stuff. I know that they're just people. And because we have such high expectations of our parents,
Yeah.
and it's understandable why. I mean, we're children being guided by them. We need
Yeah.
we need to be taken care of 24/7 by them from infancy. So you rely on them and you just see them as all knowing, so to speak. I mean, and so
Yeah.
if they make a mistake with you, then you go,
Yeah.
well, it must be me. We always internalize.
Yeah.
And that's one of the most freeing things, because I think all of us at some point have gone through something with our parents. And it's one of the most freeing things to do is just to realize, put yourself put your parents in your shoes and go, how am I right now? And how would I react to my kid? Or, I'm a person and I make all these mistakes. And you kind of put your parent in your shoes and realize they're a person and they make mistakes too. And it's like, oh, okay. It's so much easier to deal with. Yeah, that freed me a long time ago. That helped a lot.
That is wonderful that you are able to see your parents as people, because I mean, my kids, my adult kids,
Yeah.
and my whole family, and I think that's still work in progress.
Yeah.
You know? And
Yeah.
my children's ages too, all three of them. But I
Mhm.
think that's work in progress on my with my kids and me. It kind of makes me laugh, and sometimes it makes a little tear, but because but I think what I'm going on my new adventure now, I
Mhm.
think they're gonna really start learning that I'm a person.
Yeah. Yeah, because once you break free from
Yeah,
caretaker and then
yeah,
you start having your own life, so to speak, then
exactly.
they see it.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think that happened with me and my parents, because my parents started having their own lives pretty early in life because my mother had me young and all that. So, but when I grew up, she was still very young. My stepdad was young, and they're just like, living their lives. And then once they started living their lives beyond me, that helped. And that's why I say by the time I was in my 30s, I realized, oh, they're just two people that I know. I mean, they're my parents, but they're two people, human beings that I know that are just like me.
Yes. It's funny, I know, isn't it funny? Because I look at my kids and them, and as grown as they are, and I thought, oh my God, and I thought, they don't see me as a person. They really do. I'm not a person.
When when you move into that next phase of life, and they see your identity tied into other things you're doing, then it'll,
And then I tell you, when I went for my job interview for this job that I'm going to be starting next week, that was the most wonderful, wonderful feeling, because when I went for the interview, I had 3 interviews, right? And when I went, it was 2 of them interviewing me at the same time. And I shared this with you. That was the greatest feeling, because they looked at me as a person.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's a different.
Yes, it was the first time in all these years I have been looked as a person, and I felt great. I was just literally giggly inside, and I was so appreciative and so happy. And at the end, I kept saying, thank you so much for this opportunity. But I was saying it because, and they realized, no, because they were similar ages, and they got it, and I said, wow. And it was just so beautiful.
Yeah, because sometimes you end up with the identity of what your responsibility is to them.
That's right.
And they forget that you're a human being and you have responsibilities to yourself,
Exactly.
And so it's all, your identity is what you're responsible for this, and this for me. And I've experienced, not being a parent, but I've experienced it on the level of relationships.
Sure.
And this is what your role is. Your role is in relation to what you do for me. And,
especially being a female too. Yes. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. You're absolutely right. It's very similar. It's basically the same because of being a female. You're right.
Yeah. So just that's a whole nother, and I think that's another level in terms of forgiveness, because I think as women, we take a lot of hits. That I think this topic for women is even more strong, because we take a lot from a lot of people, because it's just the world is, the world is set up in such a way that there's so many expectations of women for us to put ourselves second, And then, so we, there's a lot of venom, and there's a lot of stuff that comes at us from other people if we don't do what they expect us to do, or fit into that role that they expect us to fit into. So we end up getting hit by all kinds of things from people and feeling like we're always having to forgive somebody for something. I think.
And that's why so many of us women, the whole lives, we do not go after our dreams. We do not and live our dreams. And it's not because we didn't have the initiative, but we're so busy being caught up where we have to do for our loved ones, for our children, for our boyfriends, for our husbands. They expect that of a woman always, and if we don't, something's wrong with us,
High expectations of a woman, and just certain things that they always think that. I remember I want to be in a band. I've always been a musician, but I put a lot of things off. And I said, finally, I want to get into a band. He goes, well, I know some people. He said, what are you trying to do? Be a backup singer? And I found that interesting. Now, he didn't need anything by it. He was just trying to get an idea of what I was trying to do. And I looked at him and I said, backup singer? No, I want to be the lead singer. And he kind of looked at me like, oh, like you don't have to bite my head off, right? Like he looked at me like, you don't have to bite my head off. But I felt so like, why would he just assume that I want to be behind somebody else?
Exactly.
And I think that has a lot to do with being female. He just assumed that I'm looking for a band where I can sing behind the guys. And I said, no, I want to be the lead singer. What are you talking about? And he's looking at me like, okay, well, he just didn't expect that because a lot of it's the female thing. We're second, we're behind, we're supporting, we're
Mhm.
supporting. So as a
Exactly.
backup singer, I would be supporting them. I would not be up front. And I think he just automatically thought that until I opened his eyes to, what do you mean? What are you talking about? I'm talking about being the lead,
That's right. That's right.
So yeah.
It's so funny, isn't it? It's amazing because I know here I am, in my 60s now, and I'm going through this, and it's so funny because I was talking to another friend of mine who's 57, and she
Mhm.
says, this is the first time that you are now doing for Linda.
Yeah.
Linda, as a woman, as a person. And she
Yes.
says, your kids are just going to go nuts when they finally realize what's going on. They said, she told me, she said, and what's even more beautiful is you did this all without them because they kept trying to guide you and
Mhm.
tell you, do this, do that. And here it is, you did all on your own
You made
without
your
them.
own choice.
Exactly. And they said, and this is that's even greater, even better. They said, oh, this is wonderful. And I said, yeah, I'm just I'm elated. I'm so elated by this all. And it's
Yeah,
just,
you made your own choice. This is what I want to do. The input that comes from your family is
mhm,
usually just to keep you in
yeah,
that role,
yes.
to keep you in that box,
Hmm.
because then they're comfortable
Oh, yeah.
knowing that you're there and you're supporting them. So that
Hmm.
I keep her and her in a box, like, then she's here to support me and everything is just comfortable.
Yeah,
But we have to evolve and grow. You can't,
that's
nothing
right.
stays the same,
That's right.
nothing. I mean, I guess as parents, as you see your kids grow up and you're going, oh my God, they were like little and now they're grown and now they have children of their own and everything.
Hmm.
Well, they
Hmm.
have to realize the same thing.
That's,
Parents evolve.
yeah.
Parents evolve. They don't just stay
Yeah.
one way and
Mhm.
there for you to support you. And then, it's funny, I heard something on the Golden Girls. Everybody loves
Yeah.
that show.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so beautiful. One of the Betty White said, human beings are the only, she said, all animals
Hmm.
kick their young out the nest.
Yes.
That they raise them and they show them how to live on their own and survive, and then they either leave or kick them out.
Hmm.
And she said, human beings are the only ones that feel we have to that take care of our children for life.
Hmm.
And it was pretty profound, and the reaction of the other ladies on the show were like, oh, that is so beautiful, that you thought of that,
Hmm.
because it is true. It's like most humans, they feel like I have to take care of my children for life, no matter what, I'm there. And that's great.
Yeah.
That's great, but it doesn't really operate that way in the
That's
rest
right.
of the life on this planet. It's
Hmm.
about training the young to fend for
That's
themselves.
right. But they can get out there and create and fend for themselves to make a life
Yeah.
of their own. And that's part of what education is about too. That's why it's kind of repetitious, but it's to teach you the step-by-step pattern, how to keep going, to have you know, the 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 fortitude to develop that and the projection to keep looking long term and keep moving forward, not going
Hmm.
backwards, not going sideways, but just get up and keep getting
Hmm.
up and going forward. you know
Hmm.
it's nothing wrong with failures because we drop and fall more than continuously going forward, right? But
Yeah.
that's part of the process too. That's how we learn. But we just get back up and keep going and keep going. But you're absolutely right. That is so true about us as human beings. But that's okay because you know what? We're doing it now. We're really exploring and understanding the power of forgiveness. And look at us, Sharice. Look at you at your age, me at my age. Life goes on, and it's whatever we want to create it and make it to be, right?
Yeah.
It's never too late. It's never impossible to create what it is that we want to attain, our dreams, change it, whatever, renew creations, doesn't matter,
Hmm.
because we're alive. We can do it. And and it's just so energizing. It's so empowering.
It
And no,
is.
you know, it's not going to be perfect, of course not. And it's going to be a lot of work. And of course, you know, it's going to be sometimes exhausting, but it's just so, the energy, the empowerment that you get from it, the fortitude and the development. Oh my gosh, I tell you, it's just wonderful. It really is. And that really does strengthen us and energize us even more physically, even though we don't think we have it at this age, it really does, you know? So,
Mhm.
because
Yeah, the life continues. It's
yeah,
not, at the age, it's funny because you get to a certain age and you realize I'm still here.
yes,
I'm
yes,
still vibrant. I
yes.
still have dreams,
That's right.
and
That's
we're allowed. You are allowed to
right.
unapologetically have dreams,
That's right.
have wake up every day,
Right.
seeing the world through the eyes, through your youthful spirit.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
allowed to do that,
Yeah.
and that's makes room. When you forgive, it makes room for you to be able to do all
Oh,
that stuff.
totally, totally. I mean, you know how I've been decluttering the house, and
Mhm.
I literally been manifesting it where I've been doing it literally in the house, cleaning and everything. And I just thought, this is just wonderful what's been going on, you know? And one lady friend of mine was asking, what are you doing now? When are you going to be finished? Aren't you finished? I said, no, I'll know when I'm done. When I'll be done when I just stop. When I just stop.
Yeah,
I said, but you know what? Obviously I'm not done because I'm still doing stuff. I'm still packing up and calling, Purple Heart, and I'm doing these garage, estate sales, and I'm doing these donations. I said, no. I said, I know when I'm done, when there's no more to do it, I'll just stop it and I'll move
yeah.
on to something else. I said, but I'm having fun and I'm cleaning house and I'm creating more and more what I want my life to be, my environment. So it really has been a whole manifestation inside out. And I love it. Like you say, there's no stipulations. There's no, whatever it is that we want to create and make. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just all up to individually, each and every one of us and our dreams, our desires. So,
Well, I think the theme of this, underneath forgiveness,
yeah.
is healing. So
Oh,
it
yeah.
seems like we've been talking this whole
That's
time
what it's
about
about.
forgiveness. It's
That's
like
right.
forgiveness on the surface, but
Yes.
underneath it, it's really healing. And
Exactly.
so we have to heal our spirit to
That's
live
right.
our best, happiest,
Yeah.
fullest life, full of the most potential and empowerment.
And when you think about the healing, okay, what is healing? It's really paying attention and feeding your spirit,
Yeah.
taking care of you, and that's what it's all about. So, forgiveness, healing, taking care of you, that's really what it's all about, forgiveness. So
Mhm.
I think this has just been a fantastic topic, and
It
we can go
has.
on and on.
Thank you again to our listener. Thank you.
Definitely.
And
I mean, we need to say her first name because, that could be many, right? But
well,
if
her
you,
name is Linda, just like our Linda here. Her name is Linda. So thank you so much. And we may even tackle it again. It's a huge topic. There's so much to talk about. But
definitely.
thank you for watching that podcast. She, again, binge watched all of our first 4 shows.
So
And that's a
wonderful.
huge support to us because we're really trying to grow. So thank you
Yes.
again.
Linda,
And
thank you so much. And Linda, as well as others, if there's other topics or comics that you want to hear us speak about, please, send them in to us. And we're
yes.
happy. It's going to be exciting once we start having guests and be able to interact and talk. That's going to be even fun too when we do that in the future. But
I've talked to a few people about that. So that's coming. We'll have guests talking about different topics. Some people who are, we'll say, expert on
yes,
certain topics, and it's going to grow. This is our 5th show. We've been talking about the number 5. This is
isn't
our
this
5th
amazing? Look
show.
at this 5-5. Oh my goodness, what is going on?
Yeah,
Are we not in rhythm or what?
I know.
This
So
is
it's
so
it's
wonderful.
awesomeness.
It has been. And
So,
thank you so much, Cherise. And boy,
thank
this
you,
is going to be
Linda.
exciting. Well, next podcast will be number 6. And I can't wait. And everyone, please enjoy your day. We're going through a heat wave, but it's still such a beautiful time. Please keep hydrated. Take time to always do something special for yourself, even if it's a little something, like maybe going for a little walk or enjoying a little piece of chocolate or something. But do something that is special for you, that you like doing. Do not neglect yourself. And take good care. And thank you so much for joining our podcast number 5.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
unapologetically put yourself first. Try once a week or something. Unapologetically put yourself first. Also, if you enjoy the podcast, please hit the like button and also subscribe to the podcast. And you can send an email to breakthroughtogethernow@gmail.com and give us topic ideas or leave comments at the bottom of each video or whatever video you've been watching, and if you have any suggestions for a topic. All right, so thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Cherise.
Linda.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.